Hello. I hope you all are doing well. It's Nick from DCC, and Mr. Humphrey just reached out to me last night and mentioned that for your Native American Studies class, you are having to use the library databases to do research on. And I just know from personal experience that if you've never done this before, it can be tricky to say the least. So I decided to make this video for you all to kind of walk you through step by step how to do this. And so what I would really recommend is on your computers, your laptops, put this video on in the background or on the side like this, um, and then you can pull up the DCC website on the other side like this. So you got the video over here and the DCC website over here, and then you can just follow along with me as we go. I hope that makes sense. And I'm going to do everything I can to get you guys to the searching components, and I'll tell you about each of the different databases. Um, but you'll ultimately, I haven't read the full assignment description yet, so I don't know like what the best articles are going to be. You'll have to pick those out yourself, but I will at least get you to the point where you have a bunch of articles to choose from. And then you can pick out the ones that work best for you. You have to read them, of course, and it might take some time, but yeah. So we're on the website, the dawson.edu website, and once you're there, um, you will end up hovering your cursor over this big red block by clicking on current students, and you'll go to library. If you are unable to access the dawson.edu website, you should at least be able to get to the library website. I know we've worked to get the library website working for you all. And then what you'll do is click Start Here. You might be tempted to click Search the Catalog, but that actually will skip an important step. So you go to the library website. Now, this actually might be where you guys start. I'm not exactly sure if you just have a link directly to this website or not, but this is where you want to start. It is this is like our library's home page, so to speak, and I do know from conversations with Mr. Humphrey as well as with our librarian that once you're here, you guys have been given access to a few different sources that you can then use. I had to go get access as well. I didn't have the passwords or anything, so I had to go get them as well. So I was in the same boat as you all. So once you're here, you're going to either use EBSCO, Newsbank, or Gale Academic OneFile. Let me just tell you about each of these really quickly because they each do a little bit different thing, and I want you to pick the one that you think is going to work best for you. Let's start with Newsbank. Newsbank is like a collection of every newspaper article written in the last 50-ish years, and so it is there are articles from newspapers which can be really useful in some cases, but I was trying to find like Montana articles like published by like the Billings Gazette, and it was really hard. I would not recommend using Newsbank. Just after using it once myself, I kind of was like, you know what, I don't think you guys should use this one. The articles are also newspaper articles versus journal articles, which means like the writer could put whatever they want in it and it doesn't ever get reviewed professionally. It gets reviewed by an editor and then it gets published. But I have a friend who's a newspaper writer and he gets to write whatever he wants, really. And so I would say you probably don't want to use Newsbank for that reason. The thing you might want to then use is either EBSCO or Gale Academic OneFile. And I don't think one or the other is better. I think they both are really, they'll work for what you're doing. So let's just start with EBSCO because it's at the top of the list. You will have to log in right here and put in your password. I did it earlier and now it told me, and it just works for some reason ever since I did it. I'm not sure if you'll have to put in the password every time or not. For me, I put in the password once, and it's just been working since. So yeah, you get to this, and this is kind of like your database log. Just so you guys know what a database is like a collection of writing, um, and the writings are coming from scholarly journals. So that's what this database is it's collections of writings by topic that come from academic journals. And I didn't require this in Writing 101 when you guys had Writing 101 with me, because quite frankly, the only time you really got to be good at this is if you're getting like your master's degree or your doctorate, which I fully believe any of you could go get your master's degree if you wanted to. I don't doubt you for a moment. But at least in my life, the only time I've ever really used these is in school. I've never really used it professionally. Maybe I should. But that's why I decided for our Writing 101 course. I was like, I really don't think going through all this is important, because I want to prepare them for real life writing, not necessarily for more academic stuff. So, but once you're here, the class is Native American Studies, and you'll kind of have to pick which database you want to use. You've got obviously like these databases are your choices off the top, and you could do general, you could do history, you could do law, political sciences, you could probably do philosophy or religion, but the one to me that probably would be best for you all is the psychology/sociology. Not the psychology part, but the sociology part. So you click that, and it will instantly take you down here. And then I would just click this, like that. Once you click this, you get like this 3-tiered search bar. It's like a really, really fancy Google search, because it's letting you like hyper filter your content. I never use the 2 search bars below. I just use the top one. And for your class, I would start typing in something like Native American Studies, and it will generate lists that are really popular. The word "or" gives you extra lines of your search, essentially. The word "and" makes it look like, oh, you have to have this and this in the source that it pulls up. So this one, Native American or American Indian or Indigenous or Native tribes or Native people. The reason there's all those ors is because the articles you might look for, probably depending on the time they were written, might be focused on Native American studies. More recent literature and professional groups would be American Indian studies. And then, of course, some people just have a preferred way of talking, especially if the author was Native. Maybe they prefer to call themselves an Indigenous person, right? So there's not a right or wrong way of calling someone who's Native American American Indian versus a different name. So that's why this list right here just has all of them. So that way you're getting everything. So you click search, and this is where you're just going to have a giant list. The very first thing is about the terms. That's funny. But yeah, you're going to get all these terms. You're going to get videos. They're all fantastic sources. If it's in this list, and you can go down, and there's probably hundreds, I would be my guess. You could go on and on and on. You might just have to look for a little while to find the ones for your class. Read the title, don't read the article, but one thing you are going to probably want to look for is this PDF full text, or HTML full text. That means you're going to be able to get the entire thing and not have to pay. We're not paying, right? Don't pay money to do this. This is literally PDF full text only. So you could find different topics depending on what your paper's on, and look for that PDF full text. This one, I'm not sure what your paper is on, but this one actually seems really interesting. Native American Experience of Chronic Distress in the USA, PDF full text. Featured competent research with American Indians in Alaska, finding recommendations for symposium. Yeah, look for that PDF full text, and then let's say you find an article you like. Um, there's lots of different sources. I'm not sure which ones you guys will want. Um, I'm gonna just use the one on chronic distress. I teach multicultural education, and that's one thing we talk about is stress levels across different cultures. So I think let me just click the full text PDF, and that's what it'll come up with is a full article. Wow, long article, 26 pages. So let me walk you through the article structure so you kind of know where to look. These articles that are 26 pages, you don't read all 26 pages. That'd take you all day. You would have to sort through tons of them. What I would recommend is reading what's called the abstract. And if it interests you, then you can read the introduction, read perhaps background information, but eventually what you're going to really want to focus on is the findings. This is all overview that I'm skipping. This is a lot of data. You could read through it, but it's a ton of data that is then going to be summarized later in the article. So I always skip to the summary. Conclusions, here we go. So here we go. Here's a summary of the main results. Okay, this paper is the first to compare the much discussed worsening mental well-being of white American citizens with what was experienced by Native American citizens over the same period. The paper draws upon BRFSS data to calculate a measure of chronic distress from 1993 to 2020 among a randomly selected group of 8 million U.S. citizens. Wow, this is a pretty crazy big study, 8 million. And then here's what you want to read, these 5 findings. Okay, that's how I read it. I read the introduction and then I really read the conclusion. And if anything in here is really interesting, I might go back into the paper and find more information on it. But for the sake of your time, start with the introduction and the conclusion. Decide if it's a good paper to read, and then read the whole thing. Don't read the whole thing to decide if you want to use it or not. So that's how I would use EBSCO. I think Gale is very similar. This EBSCO felt really easy to me. Just putting my search in that one top bar like we did up here, seeing this population of great research and articles, and picking one that has PDF full text. That seemed to me like a pretty good process. Let's just try it real quick with Gale as well. So Gale Academic 1 file. So it's a little bit prettier than EBSCO. You could browse by discipline, or you could just search. American Studies. Let's just type in Native American Studies. That's the class you're in. I'm going to see if anything's been done specifically for those classes. I'm just being honest. I'm thinking EBSCO might be the way to go. Oh, so it's kind of the same thing. Typed in Native American Studies, and I got sources. Okay. Yeah, it's already got the full text filter on. That's good because you want full text documents. If the teacher asks for anything about peer reviewed, you could click this filter as well. I'm not sure if the teacher is asking for peer reviewed or not. But yeah, so full text, peer reviewed, and then you should have access to read the whole thing. You can, of course, search for something that's more specific if you would like. Maybe you're talking about heritage. Maybe you're talking about cultural practices. Maybe it bugs you, kind of like it bugs me, that Native American is referring to nations of many different people. Maybe you want to actually look at a specific nation. Something like maybe you want to look at the Crow tribe. Maybe you want to look at the Blackfoot tribe. I don't want, I think that's one of the things that's always thrown me off about the particular subject that we're looking at is like by saying Native American, we're referring to a bunch of different sovereign nations of people. They're not all the same. So maybe you want to filter your results by looking at particular tribes or particular people. So however you want to do it works. If you were to use Gale, let's see what happens when we click on a source. Looks like click, oh, it just is right there, pops right up. Once again, these are long. Read the introduction and then scroll down to the findings, the conclusion, and if you like it and you find it interesting and it's going to help you with your paper, then use it. Read the whole thing then. I'm not sure if she's requiring you to do citations. I just said she could be a male teacher. I actually don't know who the teacher is. I know typically it's a female teacher that does it in the American Studies. But you can click cite and get a citation if you need to do citations. My guess is it'll probably be an APA paper, so make sure you click APA, and then you just copy and paste that. Make it easier on yourself. So, okay, I think EBSCO can do that as well. You can also cite on EBSCO. So we're just going to click this. Just double check that we can cite it. That's all I'm doing real quick. Pulling up the record. I want to cite my source. Come on, computer. The computer's being terribly slow right now. I pulled this one up earlier. Maybe it'll work better since I used it earlier. Okay, loading. And if I want to cite it, if she's requiring citations, print. Is that cite? Yeah, this one right here is citations. You see where my cursor is at? It's this little paper. And make sure you do APA if you're doing an APA paper, or MLA if you're doing an MLA paper. Does that make sense, you guys? I hope this is helpful. You're going to have to read them and obviously get good information from them. The goal of the assignment, regardless, is to find good information using these sources. So read the articles that interest you and that work for the paper, and then let me know if you have any questions. I know I'm not the teacher, but I'm always happy to help. Yeah, you can just message me on Moodle if you need help, or you can have Mr. Humphrey send me a message. I'm always happy to help. So yeah, hopefully this video works for you guys and helps you out. So hope you're all doing well, and I look forward to working with you in creative writing. Please know that I can't